All right, so we have made it to chapter 4, which is East Asia, and we finished the first 3 chapters, which are this good introduction to the principles of geography. So in this section, we are going to talk about the physical geography of East Asia. So this is what East Asia looks like. It's made up of the countries of Mongolia, China, North and South Korea, and Japan, and then also the island of Taiwan down here. Some of the other key features that we're going to see, there's deserts up here in the north, like the Gobi Desert. The desert over here, we see that there's a plateau here. It's a high elevation that kind of flattens off on top. We have the Himalayan mountains down through here. And then we also have some major seas, the Yellow Sea, the Sea of Japan, the East China Sea. This gives China a large coastline to be able to trade and export. And then we also have some really important rivers that flow into those seas. And we'll talk about those here in a bit. So the mainland of East Asia, which is mainly China and Mongolia, can be divided into 3 subregions. There's this plateau of Tibet, which is often 2.5 miles above sea level. That's very, very high. And then we have the middle steppe, which is lower mountains and plateaus. And then finally, we have the low hills and plains that form much of the eastern third of China. So these pictures are from the East Asia area. There's also a peninsula. So this is North and South Korea here, which is bordered by the Yellow Sea to the west. And to the east over here, this is the Sea of Japan. So Japan is kind of over in this region, kind of out of the picture. And the peninsula is mountainous, but then it also has broad plains as well. Japan is what we call an archipelago, meaning that it's a collection of islands. Now, there are 4 main islands, but there are thousands of smaller islands that span a total of 1,500 miles. Japan is also a part of the Ring of Fire, which gives it a lot of volcanic activity, including its most famous volcano, which is Mount Fuji, shown in this picture here. Japan is also famous for its cherry blossom trees. So very beautiful picture with the snow-capped Mount Fuji in the back there. So because it's located in the Ring of Fire, Japan is one of the most earthquake-prone countries. Not only are earthquakes a big issue here, we also have tsunamis that result from this. So whenever there is an earthquake that occurs and that is experienced in the ocean, that causes these massive tidal waves that hit the coastline, and they can be incredibly destructive. There was a massive earthquake in 2011 in Japan that spawned a tsunami that killed many, many more people. So that's a very common thing in East Asia that we talk about the natural disasters, particularly earthquakes and tsunamis that hit. There's also a lot of plains areas. You can see kind of the flat areas that would be used for farming. Japan and Taiwan were formed by volcanic activity, and there's just a lot of mountains that surround the area as well. There are major seas in the area. The South China Sea, the East China Sea, the Yellow Sea, and the Sea of Japan are the major seas in East Asia. And then there are rivers that are really important, particularly a couple of key ones in China. There is the Yellow River, and that's what's shown in this picture up here in the right-hand corner. Its Chinese name is the Huanghe. And it's called the Yellow River because it's kind of a yellowish brown color, which probably looks kind of gross, but that's actually silt, which carries with it like mineral deposits, and it makes excellent they make excellent use of that through farming. So the river will flood and the silt will get deposited in the surrounding land. And then that when the waters retreat, all that minerals are left behind out of the silt. And then the farmland can be, plowed and crops can be grown. So it's one of its best farmland because of that yellow-brown color of the loess that exists in the river. But the river also has this nickname, the China Sorrow, because there's been so many deaths that have occurred because of the flooding. The Shangjiang is also another river that flows through China, and it's actually China's longest river. Japan has rivers as well that are important, and the same with North Korea. I like this map a lot because I think it allows us to kind of put in perspective, since China is so large in size, think of it fairly comparable to the United States. It's a little bit bigger than the United States in size, but the United States has a lot of varied climate, from the mountains of Colorado to the plains of Kansas and Indiana and Illinois, to the kind of more tropical like temperatures that we experience in California or Florida. And so we would expect something similar in China just because of its massive size. So, we have everything from the desert sections, cold deserts up here in the north, to more warmer climate, humid subtropical climate down here in the southeastern corner. So there's a great mixture of climates that exist in an area this large. So latitude, its proximity to the equator, is a huge effect on the climate, but then also elevation. Places that are higher, like on the plateau of Tibet, would have colder temperatures, and then also air masses affect that as well. Southeastern China is very hot and rainy much of the year, as I already said, because of that, where it's located. Taiwan, Japan, and Korea Peninsula are generally wetter and have milder temperatures than mainland areas at the same latitudes. Mongolia is very dry. You can kind of see in the picture here, it's very kind of brown, and that's mainly because that's where the Gobi Desert is located, which winters there are very cold. So don't think of all deserts as hot deserts. And then we have the Plateau of Tibet, which is also very dry. This shows some of the resources that are produced. It's kind of an overwhelming map to look at. We're going to kind of sum up some of those things here. China has lots of natural resources, mainly because it's really big. So there's lots of places that they can mine. They're not limited on size. Japan lacks a lot of those resources, and also it probably just lacks the area available to mine and get those things out of the ground, because it's extremely populated for its small size. But it is a world leader in industry, as well as Taiwan is as well. Largest deposits of fossil fuels are in China, where they are the world's largest producer of coal, which goes into power plants. They also have large amounts of oil and natural gas that are under the South China Sea and in one of the deserts. But despite all of that, they still lack the ability to meet all the energy needs, just because there's so many people. There are over 1 billion people in China. They do both, China and Japan both have hydroelectric power that they use off of their rivers. There's lots of forests in the area, but you're not going to see as many of those forests in China. Taiwan and Japan are more covered by forests, and also the Korean Peninsula has more of the forests. So kind of the key details, the key rivers in China, Huanghe is a big one. Recognizing that China and all these areas have a lot of other climate zones that exist there, and understanding kind of the role of the Japan being in the Ring of Fire that's caused some of those islands to form up like Taiwan, but also still the earthquakes that exist in this region. So if there's something in the note sheet that you were not able to get filled in, always realize that you can rewatch, you can pause the video, or you can access the notes that are also uploaded on Google Classroom. That will do it for this first section of Chapter 4. Thanks for watching.